Hi, this is Jason Holland. I'm the roving Latin America editor for International Living, and I'm here to tell you about life in Mexico right now. Although I'm the roving Latin America editor, I'm based in San Miguel de Allende, which is in the colonial highlands of central Mexico. So normally, this is a great place to live. We have a temperate climate. We have the great Mexican food. We have all the traditions and culture, the vibrant traditions and culture that Mexico affords you. We have great restaurant scene, great live music, a very supportive and large expat community that really makes us a special place to live. And that's, basically throughout Mexico, you're going to find those benefits. Now, of course, we're kind of in a time of worldwide crisis, and Mexico is no different. Now, I will say that in Mexico so far, we don't have the level of coronavirus cases that we have seen in Europe and the United States. They are conducting, testing at healthcare facilities throughout the country. The number of cases is growing, so far slowly. But from what experts say here, that could change very quickly. They're saying the next few weeks, the next few months, we could see significant cases here in Mexico. So what's it like right now? Well, as I said, there's not a whole lot of medical issues right now related to the coronavirus, but myself, my family, a lot of other expats here in San Miguel and throughout Mexico, places like Playa del Carmen, Puerto Vallarta, Los Cabos, they are taking precautions. We are staying mostly at home. We are not going out shopping. We are not going out to restaurants or anything like that. We're mostly staying at home, kind of isolating ourselves, for our benefit as well as for our neighbors. We don't want anybody to get sick unnecessarily. Now, there are some key changes. People are anticipating that there could be an impact here. So to prevent that or to mitigate that, officials are taking steps. Now, the national Mexican government has not really issued any nationwide orders or lockdowns or anything like that. They've made some recommendations about not congregating in large groups. A lot of public events have been canceled. It's really the states and local governments and communities that have really stepped forward in this time to issue some guidelines and rules and suggestions, to the populace. So, for example, here in San Miguel, a lot of restaurants have closed completely. Some restaurants are still open, but they're carry-out or take-out or delivery only. Lots of the big events that take place in San Miguel and other places in Mexico, music festivals, parades, religious festivals and celebrations, fairs, and all that fun stuff that we love to do in Mexico. Well, those events have been canceled or postponed. So that's kind of, a drawback, but something necessary, to prevent the spread of this disease. Some other factors here is that, you go to the store and pretty much, everything is available. I went shopping earlier this week to get some supplies. And, it was great to be at the store because there were staff sanitizing every grocery cart as you went in. All the employees at the store are wearing masks, and there are crews constantly wiping down the checkouts and different public areas of the store to kind of sanitize and make everything, disinfected, basically. And in the stores, the shelves are fully stocked. Everything is there pretty much. There were a few, missing items in the cleaning section aisle, but for the most part, the stores are well stocked. There hasn't been that panic buying that I've seen from family members in the United States, where they can't, they go to the store, they can't get anything. Nothing is on the shelves, which was pretty shocking. But here in Mexico, you can get pretty much everything you need. Now, as far as people being out and about, Mexico, people like to live life in the streets. It's kind of exuberant local population, lots of tourism in Mexico as well. But I have to say, from the pictures I've seen, lots of streets are empty these days. In places like, Cancun and Playa del Carmen, Puerto Vallarta, even here in San Miguel de Allende. Of course, there are still some people out and about. People still have to work. Some of the shops are open, some are closed. You do see people out and about, but it's definitely reduced from before. And in some areas, the streets are completely empty. One thing that's really cool here in San Miguel, and I've seen this in other cities in Mexico as well, is the local government has actually put together crews, and they're wearing hazmat suits, the masks and goggles and everything. And they're going around all the public spaces, the parks, the plazas, public buildings, and they're spraying disinfectant on everything to kind of clean things up. Now, of course, Mexico has a huge tourism industry here. Places in the Riviera Maya like Cancun and Playa del Carmen, those big all-inclusive resorts. Same in Puerto Vallarta. Cruise ships, Los Cabos, all those places, even San Miguel, we get a lot of international tourism, especially this time of year. It's right around spring break and Easter. Major time for visitors to come to Mexico in all areas of Mexico, and it looks like a lot of that is going to just be completely shut down. So that is going to have a huge impact on the local economy. And that, of course, that means a lot of people are going to be out of work, or they are going to be furloughed until this crisis is over. So what's nice is that the community here in San Miguel and other places in Mexico, knowing that a lot of these workers are not going to have a job, they're not going to be able to provide for their families. So a lot of people are putting together fundraisers. They're giving away food. People, if you have, say, a cleaning lady or a gardener in your home, people are continuing to pay their salary even if they're not, coming to the house because the people there are self-isolating. So it's nice to see that the community is coming together in this time of crisis. In other ways too, the expat community is very active online on platforms like Facebook. So people are sharing information. People are sharing their homes. If somebody is scared to be alone, or they don't have a place to stay and they're stranded here because, say, their government back home is limiting access to the country, or they can't get a flight or whatever, they can't travel, people are opening up their homes to people in those situations as well. As I mentioned, as I keep going, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment below, and I'll try to answer those as best as I can. So let's see, what else do we got going on? So, like a lot of people, my family and I were just staying home. I have my wife, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. We have a relatively large house that we have here in Mexico. We have a nice view from our terrace. We're comfortable, and so we don't really have a problem spending most days of the week, most hours of the day in our house. And to kind of pass the time, I work from home, so I basically, my work routine is the same. I get up and I get on my laptop until the afternoon, and then that's kind of what I do. My kids used to homeschool, and my wife was their homeschool teacher, so they've kind of returned to that because schools are closed in this community as well as they are in many parts of Mexico. So my kids are doing their homeschool routine. I've been reading a lot of books, been watching a lot of Netflix, playing games with my kids. We've dusted off the board games that sat on the shelf for a long time and we never seemed to have time to play. So that's what we're doing. I picked up my guitar that, again, I haven't picked up in years because I always just seemed to be too busy. But now I'm playing guitar again. My wife, she's baking a lot. Just those things that you don't think that you have time for in your busy normal life. When you're stuck at home for 24 hours a day for 7 days a week, basically, we're finding time to do a lot of those hobbies. So we've been having a lot of fun connecting as family, and we're also keeping in touch with people. We have friends all over the world, and pretty much nowhere in the world has been untouched, by this crisis. So we're also keeping in touch with friends and family in Spain and Italy, in the UK, in Florida, New York, California, all over the United States, all over Europe, people even in Asia that we know that are there. So we're kind of just, trying to keep each other amused and happy, and kind of ease that tension and that stress by kind of communicating with the people, getting a sense of what life is like in these other parts of the world that are facing this coronavirus crisis. So as far as other aspects of life here, as I mentioned, there's no shortages in the grocery stores. The grocery stores are open. They're keeping things really clean. A lot of the restaurants are closed, or some are carry-out or delivery only. Every municipality has kind of their own variation on the rules. But here in San Miguel, for example, they're doing buses at 50% per capacity only. All the shuttles and airports are open, although lots of flights have been canceled at the different airports around Mexico. Mexico is a large country, it has lots of international airports, and a lot of flights are actually being canceled. As far as healthcare goes, as we've seen, even, the best healthcare systems in the world are being, really tested, by this virus and this crisis. So as I mentioned, Mexico has not seen the big impact yet, but experts say that it is coming. Hopefully it doesn't, but from what they've seen in different countries around the world, it's going to hit Mexico as well. So what the Mexican government has done is they've announced that they're going to have specialized hospitals to deal with coronavirus patients, and they've been setting them up around the country. They're putting together personnel and equipment. They're getting these things ready now because even though we have not seen a huge jump in cases, that could happen at any time. So they want to be prepared. They're kind of being proactive in setting up all these measures beforehand. Now, just like anywhere in the world, though, I do believe that Mexico's healthcare system is going to be stretched thin if there is a big impact here. In normal times, Mexico offers good healthcare at a low price. So in general, Mexico has all the modern technology. Doctors are well trained. There's specialists in every discipline. But if there's a huge jump in the number of people affected by this disease, I think the medical care system in Mexico is going to be stretched thin. Although it's good to see that the government is taking proactive steps and kind of setting things up before we get to that point. Okay, so that's basically what life in Mexico is like right now. We're looking good. The expat community here is concerned. The local people here, we're all concerned, but we're not panicking. We're just taking steps. We're taking precautions, doing things like staying at home as much as possible. The local governments have advised older employees, the most at risk for the coronavirus, to stay home. They've limited public gatherings. Events have been canceled. People are just kind of living in this kind of new normal for a little bit until this crisis passes. So I've really been happy to see how the community has responded by helping each other, by spreading information, by really coming together in this time, and even just a simple act of staying at home and trying to flatten that curve is a good sign as well. So this is Jason Holland, the roving Latin America editor for International Living, signing off. And if you're watching the replay of this, please go ahead and just comment below, ask any questions you have. I'll be monitoring this feed just to answer questions or concerns that people have. So thank you very much.